Hi folks. Well, I went and bought something else, and this is from Harbor Freight, and this is one of those small portable generators that they sell over there. 2 horsepower, 2-stroke engine, 800 watt portable generator. And the idea behind this generator is I'm going to send this thing over to the Philippines, and I'm going to use it in emergencies over there, or when there's power outages, which if anybody is aware of the Philippines, they'll know power outages are commonplace in the Philippines. They happen all the time. They can go on for days. It's just very commonplace over there. There's a lot of reasons for it. The power grid is insufficient, and there's a lot of storms and things like that. But this will be enough to power a small refrigerator, a couple of lights, and maybe a laptop computer. It can also keep batteries charged up. If I have, because I'm planning to have some solar panels over there, so I'll have battery storage, and on cloudy days I can run this generator to keep everything working. But I'm going to open this up, and we're going to see what we got here. Now, I did open the box before, and I actually read these instructions. And 2-stroke engine, for anybody that doesn't know, you need to mix. Special oil in with the gasoline, otherwise you'll ruin the engine. So I'm going to pull this out of the box, and once I do that I'll turn the camera back on. So this is what we have inside the box. Now when I pulled it out of that box, there's some kind of a petroleum type smell, and that kind of surprises me because this has never been run theoretically, but it could just be the lubrication that's inside of it. It's hard to know. Now this is supposed to be a filter for the gasoline, the gas oil mixture, and the filler cap here. And it does, on the cap, it gives the ratio. You need 50-to-1 fuel and 2-cycle oil mix. So for 1 gallon, it'd be 2.5 ounces of 2-cycle oil. And I bought that 2-cycle oil at Harbor Freight also. I paid $5 for 8 ounces, so that's enough to run this thing 3 times. So I'm going to go ahead and put the handle on it, and I'll get some gasoline and we're going to test it out. Now this holds roughly 1 gallon of gasoline, 1 gallon of fuel, and it's supposed to be that runs this for 8 hours under moderate load. Now I don't want to run it, it runs it for 5 hours on a moderate load. Sorry, not 8 hours, 5 hours. And I don't want to run it that long, but I do want to test it to see if it works. So I'm going to go ahead and put some gasoline in it, but I'm not going to put a full gallon in here. Now, I should also tell you that the instructions say that this thing has a 25-hour break-in period. So that would be 5 full tanks of fuel would need to be run through this before this thing is considered fully broken in. And while you're breaking it in, you're only supposed to run it at 80% of its capacity. So in other words, it's 800 watts, so you'd want to run it 700 or fewer watts for the first 25 hours that you're using this thing. Now, I'm going to run it for about an hour, and before I put any kind of load on it, and then after that I'll put a small load on it. I'm not going to get anywhere near 700 watts when I'm going to run this thing, but we'll have to just see how it goes. But I'm going to put the handle on next. Now, what you get along with, you know, the machine more or less assembled, except for the handle. You get the handle, you get 2 screws. They also give you this spark plug wrench, and they give you this extremely super cheap screwdriver, which is adequate for putting that handle on there, plus this bag. So that's some stuff that comes with it. So the next thing, oh, and I wanted to mention a couple other things. This is model 69381, and there are all these. There's a bunch of these different type generators that Harbor Freight has sold, and apparently this one is a little bit different than some of the older versions. So even though it looks very similar, there are some changes that have been made to these. I'm not 100% sure about all what they are. I guess on some of the other ones, for disassembly of this, like taking this off the gas tank, this one uses, what I read someplace was it uses an 8mm socket, not a 10, and there are other differences. Supposed to be this one here is an improved version and is slightly better than the other versions that you might find out there, the older ones. I'm not really sure if that's true or not, because I never owned one of the old ones. Okay, I hope it sounds okay. It's a little bit windy out here right now, but we're gonna go ahead and start this thing up. Now, I got only about 1 quart of gasoline or fuel mixture really inside that thing right now. So in theory it's going to run for somewhere about an hour and 15 minutes. Now I'm going to go ahead and start this thing up. First thing is you got to open the fuel, and you got to put the choke and put it on.
before I put any kind of a load on it. So I put my kilowatt on it, and you can see it's not maintaining 110 volts. It's pretty close, but it's jumping around, which doesn't give me a lot of confidence in some ways. Sure as hell wouldn't run any sensitive equipment without electricity.
I came in the house. I'm going to get just a fluorescent lamp, and I'm going to plug it in. But it's been running now for about 40 minutes, and I just wanted to show you how loud it sounds from inside the house. And you can hear it, but it's not real loud. It's something like if somebody's just idling a motorcycle outside, a small motorcycle, it sounds about like that.
So it's a very small load. Powers that fluorescent light without too much trouble. About 62 hertz. That draws about 20 volts. So as expected, it ran for about an hour on 1 quart of the gasoline 2-stroke engine oil mixture, and it didn't maintain a very steady flow of electricity. It was kind of up and down. It was never up to 120. It didn't maintain 110 volts, but I still think it's not too bad for what it is. And I paid $88.88 plus tax because it was on sale. And you know, everything at Harbor Freight is always on sale, but sometimes the sales are better than others. And I do recommend people subscribe. Subscribe to the emails from Harbor Freight so that you can get the good deals. Because if I'd have just walked in and bought this thing, I would have paid $119 for it. So I saved $30. Of course, they always say this is $179 on sale for $119. So they're always trying to convince people they're getting a bargain. But I've seen it on sale before for $88.88, and I never really thought, like, it seemed like more of a luxury to me than anything else. But as I get closer to being able to sell my house, I think it's more of a necessity, because there's a lot of cloudy weather and stormy weather over in the Philippines, so I want to have this thing. And I recommend it for anybody in the eastern part of the country, the central part of the country, because there's hurricanes and snowstorms and power can go out. You just don't ever know. But you'd need to store gasoline too, of course. But I think this is a worthwhile thing to have, I really do. I can't think of anything else to say right now. Oh, they do put a procedure in the manual for what you need to do if this thing is going to be stored. So I'll follow that procedure, but I didn't run it long, and you know, there shouldn't be any real difficulty in getting it stored. But even though some people hate reading manuals, sometimes it's a smart thing to do. So anyway, that's about it. Thanks for watching.